You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It was supposed to be nice and easy. Unfortunately, the ninth inning today was the exact opposite of nice and easy, but it does not matter because the Houston Astros have picked up a sweep of the Los Angeles Angels, exactly what they needed to do, and the Astros have guaranteed themselves that if they can get to 90 wins on the season, which would be a mark of 9-4 over the final 13 games of the season, they will absolutely win the American League West once again in 2024. Hello and welcome to the Locked On Astros Postcast. Tonight, this evening, I am your host, Michael Connor, on what is a very busy evening for this channel, by the way. Tonight, we will have a Texans postcast after Texans-Bears Sunday Night Football, where Wade Smith, former Texans lineman, will join me for the very first time this season. He'll be with us every week on these shows right here on the Locked On Sports Houston page. But right now we're focusing on an Astros win, a good win, even if the ninth inning was a little bit hairy. Look, Caleb Ferguson is not good. I didn't understand why they traded for him when they did. Nobody else did. He also got royally screwed in that situation by the umpires being idiots, and it's a CB Buckner staff, so I don't know what else you expect out of that. I mean, it was a swing. Didn't matter if the ball hit you or not. There was a swing. He swung the bat. Nicky Moniak was out. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. Yes, they had to come in and now look, they had to burn Josh Hader today. They had to use him, which you didn't. They put Caleb Ferguson in that situation, which was right on Joe Ibotta because they had a 5-run lead. And of course, you're going to use your bad reliever in a spot where you've got a big enough lead to finish the baseball game. Unfortunately, it did not go out that way, and Hader had to be used. They're going to go on to San Diego now for a few days, which will be a very important series. Big time stuff. Today, let's talk about the things that we saw in the baseball game today. I want to give Ronel Blanco plenty of time here in a few minutes. We'll also take a look at the series ahead, which is a big one. Padres for the next few days. Down there in San Diego. But look, the Astros offense today had a good day for the early portions of this baseball game. They faced a pitcher that's 20 years old, and he got through the first couple of innings against them and the first time through the lineup, and then they said, take this, kid. Take this. Watch what we're about to do to you here. Getting on base, putting guys in position, then taking advantage of situations. I mean, the guy of the day was Jason Hayward. 3 for 3, 2 runs batted in, hit the home run to get it started. Everything about his day was awesome. I know that I said it when they brought Jason Hayward in, that more than anything else, you bring him in for the leadership aspect, which is true. But they do need him to produce when he goes out there. He can't be a complete big fat negative. And good on him, he was not that today. Because he's had some moments this season where, this month, he hadn't been here all season. A lot of negative moments, I would say, if you ask Dodgers fans, because, look, he wasn't very good this season when he played. But he's had some moments now for the Astros, very few moments, which is good. Very, very good. And, the outfield production has not been consistent all the time for this baseball team. We know that. And when you get into the postseason, some of those experience things might matter. So he wants to mess around and get a hot bat and, be a factor for the Astros at times. Sign me up. Sign me up for more of these sweeps as well. It's always great to sweep. I said this last night, and I mean it. God bless the Angels. They're terrible, and they're very beatable, and they're also not looking to win baseball games at this point of the season, and the Astros have taken advantage of that. Exactly what they had to do. And that's my favorite part of this time of the year is when the Astros come down these stretches is that, sure, there's going to be things in every baseball game that irritate you. And by the way, the Mariners won again today. I think they swept the Rangers. So the Astros stay at 4.5 game lead. But like I mentioned, the Astros go 9-4 down the rest of the way, the final 13 games. Doesn't matter. They've won the American League West. Seattle can only win 89 games this season at max. That's it. Astros can win 90. So, look, we can be honest with it. It's happening. And in about a week and a half, when it does happen, I will sit here and I will eat my words like I did earlier this season when I admitted I was wrong. Because I do remember it was in April doing this show, April or May, or maybe it been early May. I think it was April when we did it. And I looked in that camera and I said, they're not making the postseason this year. And it's happening. Now it's all about priming yourself and getting yourself ready. It'll be a tough series against the Padres. Again, we'll talk about it here in just a bit. It's just a good day. Very good day. Very good weekend overall for this ball club. Taking care of business. And that matters at this time of the year. Because there are so many teams that will, flounder and screw up at certain portions of the season. And that's not what this club does. They go out there. The schedule might say that they have an easier time of it, which, again, they did this weekend. But you have to go win those games. And they did that. This is coming off of last week, earlier this week, where they dropped 2 or 3 to Oakland at home. 2 of them were one-run games, but you dropped 2 or 3 to Oakland. That wasn't good for September. Angels again next weekend. 4 more games against them at Minute Maid Park next weekend. So one last chance to get big, fat, and happy against a bad baseball team. I'm going to go ahead and guess that they will probably take care of that. I don't think that will be a problem before they before they have the Mariners come to town for the final home series of the regular season. But it will not be the final home games of the season because they will host the wild card round at Minute Maid Park. And then they're going to go on the road. They're, for the first time, pretty much in this entire postseason run that they've been on in all these years, they will not have home field advantage in series that they play unless they play a wild card team, the other wild card team at some point. Right now, the Astros would be set up to play. As I'm pulling up my standings, they would still be set up to play the Minnesota Twins. I'm telling you, I am licking my chops at that one like everybody else should. The Astros will roll right through them. I know that they just got Correa back. I know that they just got Buxton back. They're the Twins. They always find a way to not win in the postseason, and they give up a lot of runs. They've given up almost 700 runs this season. 700. The Astros will do fine against them. They'll probably sweep them, to be honest with you, in a best of 3. But we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. Don't do it, Michael. Don't talk yourself into something and then have even more egg on your face in a few weeks if it doesn't happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Let's talk about Ronel Blanco. He was great today. Ronel Blanco, what do you do with him? What do you do with this Astros rotation? I don't know. Let's talk about that next here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Right now, though, I need to tell you about FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. They got odds up on all the games, including the football game tonight. Go over there and get yourself in on that action. We have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com, download America's #1 sportsbook. Locked On Astros Postcast, on a Sunday evening. Appreciate you guys, as always, for stopping by. Look, I know there's a lot of sports going on in the world right now. Football is going on left and right. I don't know what the NFL is doing at this moment as we do it live. We do know that the Mariners won today because the Astros did not gain any ground, did not add to their lead in the American League West. But that's okay. I mentioned it a moment ago. If you did not hear it, if the Astros go 9-4 down the stretch, it does not matter what Seattle does. The Astros will win the American League West. That would give the Astros 90 wins. The Mariners can win no more than 89. So there you go. Just find a way to get this thing done, and all will be right in the world. The Astros today had Ronel Blanco go out there and look really good. He, of course, was taken out of that rotation there briefly for when they went back to the five-man. They wanted to, in part, which I do completely believe, because I talked about it. You wanted to get him a little bit of a breather. He had not pitched unbelievably well leading up to that point where that happened. This is a guy that's been as steady and as consistent overall as anybody else on this football team. I've got football up on my other monitor here, the Kansas City and Cincinnati game, on this baseball team all season long. And he's a huge reason why the Astros were able to turn it around early in the season. Honestly, he's the big reason why he kept them from being worse than they were early in the year with what he did. They needed every bit of what they gave him. And the question is going to be, and yes, I'm sitting here talking about how bad the Angels are. You do take that into the equation here when you're evaluating his day today. The Angels stink. But you also have to go out there and execute. And I say stink is relative, of course. Stink from the standpoint of other big league teams. They're all incredible baseball players. They're all insanely talented and good at it. It's just that when you're in that league, there's levels of it. And they being the Angels, are on the level of stink. But you still have to go out there and execute whatever it is that you need to do against a team like that. And that is exactly what Ronel Blanco did today. Picked up win number 11 on the season, dropped his ERA back down to 2.88. No runs across 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. The spot that Joe Ibotta is about to be in is going to be interesting. Now, he could get bailed out to an extent in an ALDS when it comes to the awkwardness of it. Because, again, the Astros, in all likelihood, are going to, I say in all likelihood, the Astros are going to play. They're 4.5 games behind Cleveland for the second best division winners record. It's not impossible, but it's not happening. And Cleveland's been playing a little bit better baseball lately. It's not happening. But the Astros let's just say they go play the wild card round. And let me pull up the MLB postseason schedule so I can do this right here with you. They play that wild card round. It's a best of 3. You could play 3 consecutive days at your place. The 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd of October. Well, guess what? The division series turns right back around and starts on the 5th. Yeah, it's that quick. It is that quick. It's 2 days off. It's 1 day off if you play all 3 games. So let's just go with the scenario of they sweep the Twins in 2 games. So they use Fromber in game 1, Hunter Brown in game 2. That means that Fromber is not available until the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is not available until game 2 of the ALDS. And then Hunter Brown's not available till game 3 of the ALDS. So you're pitching Kikuchi for sure, game 1. I feel like in that spot. Maybe it is Ronel Blanco, though. It's either of those two. And then Fromber and Hunter Brown in games 2 and 3. And then in games 3 and 4, you're hoping that you go back to those other guys or Justin Verlander goes into the mix there. It's an interesting conundrum that they're in. And that is also based on the fact that the Astros could or should hopefully go into that last weekend of the season knowing if they know that they can't get past Cleveland, shut it down. You shut it down. You let Spencer Arrighetti pitch, of course, a game. I mean, Ronel Blanco will pitch a game, and you say Kikuchi might pitch a game. Or I actually shouldn't say it, Justin Verlander pitches a game. That's how you set it up in that final series. Because those games will not matter. But I think that, first of all, they need Ronel Blanco. We know that. At worst, he's factoring for this team as a reliever. And he's going to be a reliever from that standpoint that is very valuable come postseason time. One, he's got experience doing it. I mean, his entire career has been, as a guy that was basically a reliever till Dana Brown got here and said, hey, you should try this guy out as a starter. Look what's happened. But he's done it. He's done it. He recently went back to it briefly, but he's also stretched out to where, and we've seen this for Astros teams in the past. It hasn't happened as much, over the last few postseason runs where they put starters in the bullpen. I mean, really, that 2017 team was so makeshift. They had to do it with the pitching staff. The bullpen was just a trophy. You go back and look at that bullpen, how they won a World Series in 2017 with that bullpen, especially if you go back and watch some of those games. Those guys were terrible. Terrible. But they had to have the Charlie Mortons of the world. They had to have the Lance McCullers of the world. They had to have Verlander in an ALDS go out there and pitch again out of the bullpen in one of those games because they couldn't get through. This team can get through. And they've got Hader at the back. They've got Abreu, as much as he makes me scared. They still got Neris, who likes the big moment. They've got guys that can go out there and get outs. But this could keep you from throwing a Caleb Ort. No offense to Caleb Ort. He's had some good moments. He's pitched himself into having a spot in that bullpen. But he's also capable of giving up runs. We see that. He's like the new Ryan Stanek to me a little bit. He can blow it by some guys and make them look silly at times. But he can also go out there and just, 98 is 98 to all these guys. It's not, oh my God, 98. It's fastball. They can crush it. So, having a Ronel Blanco who can go out there and pitch in a short stint, or be the guy that's basically available and ready, because we know how short the leash gets in the postseason. The most interesting guy, maybe this is kind of the thought that they have. What if they look at either Verlander or Kikuchi and say, because they've been a little bit. Now, I think Kikuchi's pitched his way to where he deserves the ability to go through it, but 3 times through a lineup is something that a lot of teams don't do for pitchers in the postseason. And the numbers for Kikuchi in the regular season until he's been an Astro have not been good when he goes through the third time, like it is for most pitchers. There's not many pitchers that their numbers the third time through look good. Maybe you hold him for a situation like that. Maybe you hold him for a situation where if you had to start Verlander in a postseason game, well, Justin Verlander goes out there and he's not looking like he's very good tonight. But then that gets back to the argument of, are you setting yourself up for the best ability to win a baseball game? And that my thought process there is no. Pitching Justin Verlander right now would be malpractice in a postseason game. He's not one of your best pitchers. Ronel Blanco is. And if you need a fourth right now, a fourth starter, Blanco versus Verlander, you're going Blanco. And I think it would be a massive, massive, massive mistake to go with anybody else. His changeup alone is a lethal enough pitch come postseason time that can just carve people up. It can be an X factor in a game. You come in and you change the eyesight. You change everything about what, the other guys have been seeing out of you. So I hope that, and I do believe that intelligence will prevail in this circumstance. It's going to be a very difficult conversation for Joe Espada to have with Justin Verlander. But you can't do something to hurt your baseball team by pitching him over a guy that today came back into the rotation and did it. And then also when he was told that he needed to go to the bullpen and pitch out of that bullpen recently, didn't say one word, at least from what we know publicly, and I'm going to go ahead and put a lot on it. I'm guaranteeing he didn't say anything behind closed doors about it. And then he's performed on top of it. And with Blanco, like all these guys too, the guys that don't have the experience, Blanco doesn't have he doesn't have experience in the postseason starting. You'll have a short leash on him too, probably. But that's okay. That's okay. That's what the postseason is. It's about micromanaging. Drives me nuts sometimes, actually. I appreciate. Excuse me. Excuse me. Man. I appreciate managers that let their guys roll. And Blanco's been one of those guys this season that you let roll. You like to see that when it happens. Let's talk about the next few days for the Astros. They're heading off to San Diego for the next 3. The importance of the series, how hard it's going to be, how big it's going to be. We'll do that next, right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Right now, though, I need to tell you about PrizePicks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Very cool thing in the month of September. 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when September ends. Right now on PrizePicks, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Locked On Astros Postcast continues here on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Hey, if you're looking for this show wherever you get your podcast, go and search for Locked On Astros. You will find it, and it's free. It does not cost a single thing. You will also get the Locked On Astros podcast when you search for it. They're all on the same channel. That's Brett and Eric, who do a wonderful job. They will, of course, be with you all week long talking Astros baseball as the season creeps closer to an end. 13 games left in the regular season. So make sure you check out those guys giving you their thoughts on this team as they creep towards another American League West title, which is, it's coming, people. Go ahead and get yourself ready for it. As I mentioned earlier, if you missed it, go ahead and make sure that, or I should say, go ahead and make sure. The month of September winding down with those 13 games left. If the Astros go 9-4 the rest of the way, that gets them to 90 wins this season. That guarantees that they win the American League West. Because the Mariners, they can only win 89 games is the max that they can get to this season. And Seattle at this point has, what is Seattle's record? They are 77. So, they need to win. They need to win 12 of 13. Come on. It's not happening. Just for the chance of if the Astros went 8-5 down the stretch, the Mariners would need to win 12 of their last 13 games. Okay. I've seen that team this season try and hit the baseball. Good luck with that. They did beat the Rangers today, but the Rangers aren't playing for anything anymore, so it is what it is. Don't forget, by the way, this channel tonight will be live again. probably 10:30-ish range or so for Locked On Texans Postcast. Wade Smith and I, his season debut, former Texans lineman, will break down Texans and Bears. Big Sunday night. I don't want to call it a big Sunday night matchup because I think the Texans should win pretty easily, to be honest with you. So we'll just break that down here later on. It's just going to be fun to have the Texans on Sunday Night Football tonight and then breaking it down tonight here on this channel. The next few days for the Astros, they're off to San Diego. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is a Padres team that in the National League, they are a wild card team. They are the number one wild card team. They've got a 2.5 game lead from being outside of it. That wild card race in the National League is jam packed. The American League, it's one spot. It's the Mariners and the Tigers that are trailing the Twins, and that's it. But that National League, I mean, it's the Mets. Well, I shouldn't say it's close actually either. My bad. It's close for the 4 teams. It's the Mets trying to get in ahead of the Braves or the Diamondbacks. I think the Padres will be fine getting in. But the Astros could make things interesting for them over the next 4 days. Those games in terms of pitching matchups, tomorrow it's going to be Yu Darvish. The Astros have had some success against him in the past. We all know that. Against Spencer Arrighetti. It's an 8:40 first pitch. So, look, we are going to be late the next couple of nights. My intention is to be there with you guys both of those nights. I don't think that I'm going to lie to you on that because, of course, I would like to talk about the Astros winning. And then Wednesday's a 5:40 first pitch, so we'll be fine on that. We'll be nice and early. But Tuesday's game, Hunter Brown up against Michael King. It's a really good pitching matchup there. And then Wednesday, the day game, another really good pitching matchup, Dylan Cease against Framber Valdez. So don't forget to join us, as always, after these games wrap up. I always appreciate you guys doing that. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're making our climb to 2,000 subscribers. We're almost there. So join us again for that. I'll talk to you guys in a few hours for the Locked On Texans postcast. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and we'll talk Astros tomorrow after the Astros and Padres.